So let's talk money, right? Specifically, that age-old debate of whether it's better to own or to rent. And you can come down on different sides of it, but as long as you make an informed decision, that's really all that matters. I think sometimes when that decision is made for us, right, we're just biding our time in whatever circumstance we find ourselves in. If you want to own, but you currently can only rent, then you know that scenario. You have to play that out. But I think in our community specifically, especially as we get older, we have to start walking away from the idea that one is necessarily awful and bad, and we misconstrue facts in it. Let's take a look.
Why can't we buy a house?
Like a mortgage? Why we don't have a mortgage?
Yes.
Well, it's not that I can't pay a mortgage. I can pay less on the mortgage because I know what they're getting at. I could pay less on the mortgage, but I also have to do maintenance and repairs on the house, right? Depending on the year.
That's absolutely true. And I'm a landlord myself. I come from a real estate background. I have several rental properties. You are responsible for those repairs, right? And my own personal property I own. Something goes wrong, it's on you. All fingers point back to you. There's a leak, that's on you. A pipe burst in the middle of winter, that's on you to solve. There's no one else coming to take care of it for you. There's no one to call. I mean, you called your guy, or you are the one that busts open the hall, the hole, the wall to solve the problem. But yes, it is on you. Absolutely, no lie there.
Of the house,
Mm-hmm.
right? It comes into play with maintenance. Plus, I got to pay taxes. So
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you're living and whatever area
The
you're in,
fees and
yeah,
everything.
you got to pay the taxes. So
Typically, what people do when they buy the house, they have the entire thing, the mortgage, the loan itself, the taxes and insurance. They have it all escrowed with a separate company that with the lender that pays it all at once. So you get not necessarily maybe in a $3,000 mortgage, maybe depending where you are, 1,500 could actually be for the loan. Another 1,000 could be for the taxes, and 500 could be for insurance. It all varies where you're from.
to me, it's all about status. Either you gonna say that you own a house, or
Yeah.
right. That's I don't care about owning a house, right? I care about uh, not paying the taxes and not doing the maintenance and repairs. So if anything happens,
So again, status wise, I think United States, there has been a heavy emphasis on whether or not you own or you rent, one conveying more meaning to your financial success than the other. I think that's true for the middle class, right? We expect you to own a house. It's part of the American dream, and I'd like to get into that in another video. But sometimes you'll see the ultra wealthy, they rent, right? They like the mobility aspect of it, right? They like to be able to go. If you're not specifically tied down to a place, yeah, being able to say, I want to go and live in Jersey, well, no one ever says that. But if you want to go live in Miami for 6 months, you can do that. If you have a job or you have the means, if you're an entrepreneur and you can afford that, you can go. Yeah, a mortgage, ties you down, holds you down to one place specifically, ultra rich, right? Or even just wealthy. But let's bring it back down to reality where the most of us find ourselves. Yes, it may be a thing of status. And most of us are locally sort of locked where our jobs are, especially as we've called back many people from remote jobs and say you have to be where you have to be. So is it, in that case, is it status? Or if we do just ourselves a service and look a little bit further, owning a home is a good avenue for wealth creation. It, it is, right? It, historically it is. And historically, we in the Black community are far behind in that aspect. But I'd rather you have a better understanding of that than simply staying behind reasons and saying, well, I have no interest in paying for status. Yes, status is a byproduct of it, but honestly, the wealth creation is probably the better opportunity here.
Happens to this particular house that I don't own, I'll just call the owner. He'll fix it. As far as the taxes, I don't pay no taxes on the house. So anything that
Personally, you don't pay the taxes, but when I'm structuring, when I'm looking at what I'm going to charge someone for rent, best believe I'm taking into account what my taxes are, and I'm simply putting that cost onto you. If I look at it especially if I look at it over a 30-year period, 30-year loan term, the amount of times I've had to do the repairs, which I would have to do anyway if I personally owned and lived in that place, you're just living through that. And I'm going to pay it anyway, but I'm paying it from what you paid me. And I ensured that when you pay me, I'm already making a profit. Even if it's $200, even just $300, right? The amount of times I have to come and do a repair on the property is going to be taken care of largely by your payment.
that involves, and I don't. Right.
They
Plus,
think that
even when it comes down to moving, once the lease is up, just leave. And
Facts. Absolutely. That mobility, there's nothing that you can top about that. If you want to leave your house, you get a job somewhere across the United States. Internationally, you have to sell your house first. Or you have to find tenants, and then you still have to monitor that process back and forth. But yeah, your lease is up, or you pay to break the lease, and you're like, I have to go. It's more important that I pay this. I just need to leave. So he's absolutely right there.
the owner has to deal with the
they
house.
think that $3,000 a month is too much, but what they don't realize is everybody around us that has mortgages is paying more than us.
Right. So it's a status thing. So what their the information that they've been given is that it's better to have a mortgage, but it depends on how you look at it. It depends on your income.
Now sounds like a lot of cope going on, unless she actually has an accurate understanding of what everyone is being charged, what everyone is paying. And yes, taxes across the United States in several different places are going up. So what you may be accustomed to paying $2,300 a month for your mortgage, but taxes go up. So now whatever increase, say a $2,000 increase, is spread across 12 months. And each month you're responsible for that addition onto your what you thought $2,300 for your mortgage. So if you have to pay an extra $200, now you're $2,500, right? Or you $3,000, now you're $3,200. The difference here, right? Rather than thinking this is just a status thing, right? We have to start thinking, especially as we go, right? Us millennials, we have to be cognizant that what happens not just tomorrow or living paycheck to paycheck, what happens after the life of that loan is done, is over. So in 30 years, what will that homeowner have access to in terms of wealth versus a 30-year renter? Yes, the mobility is great, the ability to move back and forth, but we have to look at things in long-term, splices now. As we get older, we have to start thinking, what does retirement look like? You don't want to have to figure a lot of these things out later in life, because you start dead ending, right? You get to a point where you're no longer able to make choices, and choices that's not necessarily made for you, they just close off. They're dead ends now. Do you want to retire? Yeah, maybe you can retire as early as you can, or because you have nothing sort of socked away, maybe you have a 401k and you realize a 401k maybe not enough, right? This is market dependent, your income dependent, what you could put in, maybe your job matches it. A lot of people at least have their house paid off, so they have a place to stay, and you just, of course, you're still responsible for taxes and the insurance. Or you can sell it. And what took you 30 years to pay off, you now own the place free and clear. any type of improvements you made on it or the market forces in the area, you could be sitting on a small windfall. Now that you're ready to downsize your life or live abroad, yeah, you don't have to work anymore. Right? These are I can't find a better reason for this is saying all things being equal, that you have the ability, right? You have the income, you have the debt to income ratio, you have the down payment that you can actually buy a house. Yes, it's a pain in the butt. A house is technically always 85 to 87% done. There's always something that needs to be done. If you bought a new construction, maybe you just bought yourself some time before that process starts for you. I've had to replace roofs, boilers. Just recently, someone put their foot through the floor, of the second floor shower. Headache, 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 headache. But when you step back and you look potentially, where will this bring you at the end? Maybe when it's time to sell, maybe when you personally retire, you could be sitting on potentially millions of dollars versus you just rented the entire time. What you have left is what you accrued on your own. There's no other vehicle in the background doing this sort of improvement for you. Any type of person in the United States can look and see how incomes have become stagnant, but the home prices have jumped since COVID. A ridiculous, rate of return, rate of appreciation.
It depends on how you manage your money. It depends on how you look at things. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, let's say you do own that house and you die. You can't take that house with you.
You can pass it on to your family. In fact, you can't take anything with you. So I don't really understand that point. The money that you accrued anyway from not, from I guess from not owning, you still can't take that with you.
So all that is just status based. It doesn't matter if you own or you rent. You live in a house. So if you can't afford the rent,
You live in my house. There's a difference.
go get a mortgage. If you can't afford the mortgage, go pay rent. But just a matter if you can afford the rent. Y'all seen the house? Like this $3,000 a month house, I still got money to play with. So it doesn't matter if I'm paying rent or paying the mortgage. I know the numbers. Like I can save up the 2%, 10% or whatever and put a down payment on the mortgage. I can go do that. I
We
just
don't want to.
I don't want to.
Period.
Right.
So doesn't want to, and you can't fault someone for that. It all depends on what's valuable to them, what makes sense for them in their lives. Do you want that mobility, to call if anything goes wrong, to call and fix it? Sure. You need that mobility. Mobility is important to your life. Sure. But if you're thinking outside of just, I've got money to play with, you start thinking, will I have money to live with down the line? You may want to reconsider again if all things being equal, like you said, he can afford it. It's food for thought. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you rent, if you own, if you have a dream of owning, we can get into that. We can talk about that. I'd love to help. But like, comment, subscribe. Looking forward to hearing from you guys.